Good afternoon. We had a nice question from David Barnes about, about haircuts. About haircuts during sefirah. You have to excuse me, I'm a little tired. Haircuts during sefirah. There are different minhagim, and all of these things are matters of minhag. They're not, and when I say minhag, I don't mean minhag in the sense like the Rambam uses the term minhag, minhag neviim, something that the whole Klal Yisrael is required to do. Excuse me, I mean it in the sense of a local hanhaga, a local practice that people are accustomed to do, but it's not required. Halachically speaking, for something to be required for the whole Jewish people, it has to be a takana of Chazal. Now, just because something is mentioned in the words of Chazal does not mean it's a takana's Chazal. So the fact that the Chazal mentioned that there were that the students of Rabbi Akiva died during the days of Sefirah, that does not mean that they ever enacted laws of mourning during this time. However, it became a very strong minhag to the point where it's almost obligatory to do so, to observe some minhagei avelus, some customs of mourning. And so the mourning during Sefirah is customary and not obligatory, but it's for all practical purposes obligatory. And it's something a pious Jew should be doing. But we recognize that these things are matters of chumrah and not matters of actual halacha, not ikar hadin. But it's still a proper thing to do. And really, each community should follow their own minhagim, their own customs. For the most part, a lot of the minhagei avelus during this time are related for the Ashkenazim to the Crusades. Last week we observed Chav Gimel Iyar. A lot of people not aware of that day, but in Vermiza and Vermiza, the minhag was to fast on that day, and there was liturgy for that day, and actually some of the kinnus, I know Kinnah Chav Hey, that we say in Tisha B'Av are related to that and mention that day. And the recitation of Avarachamim on Shabbos, which in many kehillas, even though this past Shabbos was Shabbos Mevarchin, but still, the Avarachamim, the prayer for the martyrs, was composed for this. So that's a lot of where it comes from. The Mishnah also mentions that an opinion that the Rishoyim in Gehinnom, that the wicked in Gehinnom, and whether you want to call it purgatory or hell, it's not quite one or the other, are only judged, are only punished midei Shabbos v'Shabbatoi, from one Shabbos to the next, meaning from Mimachos HaShabbos, from Pesach until Shavuos. Such an opinion exists. With that being said, the question that we're addressing here is, so what do we do? Which minhagei avelus do I keep personally? So really there's only two major issues that I see as really being halachically important, meaning to the point where, again, it's not a binding halacha on all the Klal Yisrael, but as far as this question, it's really only the two issues are haircutting and weddings. I'm a little bit more lenient with weddings than with haircutting, even though there were poskim who said the opposite. There's no reason to avoid listening to music during sefirah. For me personally, I'm not a big music person. My wife is, and I always tell her, and she's very pious, so she still doesn't listen to music, and she complains about how painful it is, and I tell her, so listen to music. Some of them are Rebbeim. Rabbi Siegel Zolgazunstein, he openly says he listens to music during sefirah because there's no isser, and it causes him a lot of pain to avoid listening to music. So and I tell my wife but she thinks for herself. She doesn't just do what I say, which is good. She's independent. But I tell her she should listen to music. It causes her pain not to listen to music. She should listen to music. Now, as far as shaving, I don't shave my beard anyway. I don't cut my beard. I'm a Chassidish man, so I don't trim my beard. But I know, like in Yeshivas Chavetz Chaim, they say that the boys should every Friday during sefirah shave their beards. So you have people the whole year that don't have a beard, they'll have a sefirah beard, but then beyond the sefirah beard, like I said, so you have a very pious community, the Yeshivas Chavetz Chaim, where they say that the boys, especially if they're single, they should shave every Friday like on Shabbos. And a friend of mine who he's a Rebbe She'enikol, at one point he was a Lubavitcher Chassid, he became more modern. And he always told me, he said he doesn't understand shaving the covered Shabbos. Why you make yourself look less Jewish? The covered Shabbos, you should shave the covered Monday. You have to go to work, so you have to, for your parnos, you have to shave. It's the covered Monday you should be shaving, not the covered Shabbos. Anyway, but Shabbos you should keep the beard. Covered Shabbos. So anyway, put that aside. It's just Milsa B'tchusa a little bit. Milsa B'tchusa. So the question about haircut, so haircutting and maybe going to live music, that might be what you could be strict about. But just listening to radio by yourself, especially listening to a recording, you're not dancing. You need it to keep for emotional reasons. There's no reason not to listen to music during sefirah. You want to be machmir between Rosh Chodesh Iyar and Lag Boimer, those 18 days, okay? But there's no reason to say you have to have 33 days not listening to music. Because the issue of there's no source for not listening to music, sefirah. There's more of a source to say that you can never listen to music ever. But the answer is, you call that music? Same thing you can say, you call that music? So anyway, to the haircuts and the weddings. So if someone asks me who's not from Anash, who's not from Anshe Shlomeinu, to perform a Jewish wedding before Rosh Chodesh, Iyar, or after Lag B'Omer, I'll acquiesce, I'll do it. But I prefer not to do any Siddur Kedushin during Sefirah. And if it's someone from Anshe Shlomeinu, I would suggest they should not make any chasnas during Sefirah. And to make it on Lag B'Omer, I don't like the idea. First of all, it's not necessarily, it's not really B'Milia Levana, Choladeus, although I also got married Yud Ches, Yud Tes in the Chodesh. So some will say that it's still B'Milia Levana, it's a Siman Tov. But the other issue I wanted to talk about was, it's annoying to people to make a chasna on Lag B'Omer. A good friend of ours made a chasna on Lag B'Omer, and it was up in Tosh, and we couldn't make it there, and it caused us a lot of agmas nefesh because we wanted so much to be there, but it was too difficult to go. So the question of the haircuts. So it's interesting. I grew up. My mother's not Shomer Shabbos, but she told us that you cannot get a haircut the whole sefirah except on Lag B'Omer. That's how I was brought up. That's how I was raised. From as a small child, even we weren't keeping Shabbos, we weren't keeping kashrus, we kept the holidays, but this was something. Same thing. The 9 days. We didn't. We didn't eat meat. These types of things. It's interesting what kind of things we had in the home. So. Thing was, I went to yeshiva and I always heard that either you hold from Pesach until Lag B'Omer, or you hold from Rosh Chodesh until Shavuos, and Lag B'Omer is a line, it's a break. That's what they told us in yeshiva. So then what is it? So where did we get this from? Not to cut our hair the whole sphere, and it's minhag avosseinu b'yadeinu. And the truth is, that's the minhag by the Hasidim, by the Ariya Kodesh. Even though by the Sephardim, that they won't take a haircut until Lag B'Omer. The official Sephardi minhag, according to the Mechaber, according to Shulchan Aruch, is to start from Pesach and to end on Lag B'Omer, not Lag B'Omer. On the 34th day, the day after Lag B'Omer, you could take a haircut according to the non-Kabbalistic Sephardic minhag. I wouldn't even say non-Kabbalistic because the Mechaber is Gevena Groisa Mekubal. But the non-Lurianic or the pre-Lurianic, the Mechaber said if he had known the Ariya Kodesh earlier, because they had met, but the Ariya Kodesh was younger than the Mechaber, they lived at the same time, and the Mechaber said if he had known the Ariya Kodesh earlier in his life, he would have made all of his Piskei Halacha according to the opinions of the Ariya Kodesh. And I remember I mentioned that once in yeshiva, and the Maggid Shir, he said, he noticed Rebbeinu Shalom feared the Welt. He B'davka didn't want it like that. He didn't let the Mechaber meet the Ariya Kodesh so early. It's not for everybody the minhagim of the Ariya Kodesh, but it's brought such a thing as the minhag of the Ariya Kodesh. Even Lag B'Omer itself, most Hasidim are not taking haircuts. That's the common minhag, and that's what I follow. So I don't take I take a haircut. I think that was Samarov's minhag. Take a haircut Erev Pesach, and then you take a haircut Erev Shavuos. And the thing is, if you shave your head the way the Hasidim do, it's not so bad to go 50 days without a haircut. This year, Erev Shavuos is Shabbos. Samarov said you should take a haircut Erev Shabbos on the 48th day of the Omer. I want to mention one thing from Mendel Rimanover. You should count all day Shever Shvos. Shever Shvos is to me Mr. I have a phone call coming. I gotta